probably the biggest innovation, I guess is a good way to say this, innovation that came out of this, and one of the things that helped us to move forward um, with our learning, with people having books more available to themselves, having print work more available to themselves, was the Gutenberg printing press. It's not so much that there was a printing press that was the huge innovation, even though that was a really huge innovation. You can see that thing right here. Where did it go? There it is, right there. Over here to the side. That's the actual printing press. What they would do is they would take the handle that's over here toward the very back of the picture. They take that handle and they pull it, and it would tighten a screw, and that screw would push down the a plate that would push down the print, and it would print lots of paper really pretty quick. Why this is so important is because in the Dark Ages, and even any time really before this, in order to get something written, or in order to get something like to read, it had to be handwritten by somebody. If it was a Bible, it was probably a monk sitting down in his little chambers. And that was like all he did all day, every day, was illuminated writing and rewriting the Bible. You can imagine how long that took and how expensive those Bibles were. And any kind of print like that would be really expensive. So on this side right over here, if you look, you can see all those little bitty pieces of metal that you're going to see all the way up, all the way down in those little boxes. Each one of those things is a letter. That is the biggest part of this thing that's so cool, is that they are each individual little bitty letters that they could line up in a row, as you see right up here in the top corner, right up there. They could all be lined up, and they could spell out words that have spaces in between them, and so on and so forth. And so you could rack a bunch of letters on there in an order and put them on the printing press over here, and you would make that the top piece, and you put your paper underneath here, and then you would squish it down with ink on it, obviously. And if you squished it down, you pulled it back out, you would have paper that would be printed into some sort of whatever order you wanted the letters to be in. So words that were written down became much less expensive. I mean, you got to think it would take like probably pretty much an entire year to write a Bible. So you can imagine that a Bible probably cost a year's salary to buy. So if you had a book, man, you had something. I mean, you had something substantial, some money. Most of the books were housed in libraries, in monasteries and stuff like that. But I mean, there's a few people that may have had around 200 books, and that's just crazy. That is crazy, because 200 books, that's like 200 years' salaries, you know. So who came up with this thing is the guy right above me. His name was Johannes Gutenberg. Johannes Gutenberg has got a rockin' awesome beard, man. Inspiration right there, buddy. Inspiration. But Johannes Gutenberg is pretty much probably the biggest unsung hero of the Renaissance, and what we're fixing to talk about in the next set of videos, the Reformation. He is pretty responsible for that, and how quickly it spread, because of this guy right here, more people could read. And if more people could read, that meant that they could start reading the Bible for themselves. So they don't necessarily have to have people to lie to them or to extort them in any sort of way. That is probably the biggest accomplishment in the Renaissance, in order to help people start to learn more.